After years and years of infrastructure week.
That's what we're all about today. And even this week, I have to say, we call it Infrastructure Week.
We're on the cusp of an infrastructure decade that I truly believe will transform America.
Rebuild the country's infrastructure. Nobody can do that like me, believe me.
My infrastructure plans will rebuild your roads, your bridges, your tunnels, your railways, your airports.
And then I want to rebuild the infrastructure of this country. We need members of both parties to join hands and work with us to pass a $1 trillion infrastructure plan. And I'm going to have a big statement tomorrow night on infrastructure.
I will be asking Congress to approve legislation that produces a $1 trillion investment in infrastructure of the United States.
Now is the time for a new Republican administration working with our Republican Congress to pass the next great infrastructure bill. And we're going to work on infrastructure, and we are going to put up one of the big and great infrastructure bills of all time. We're talking about a very major infrastructure bill of $1 trillion, perhaps even more. But infrastructure is coming, and it's coming fast. We're working on other things, including infrastructure. We're going to have a very big infrastructure bill. We'll be submitting an infrastructure bill in the not very distant future.
And I want a very big infrastructure bill where we're working on that very hard already.
We're going to do an infrastructure bill.
Infrastructure. I think we can do a great infrastructure bill.
And the other thing they're going to start working on very shortly is an infrastructure bill, because that's something I think everybody wants to see. I know that Congress is eager to pass an infrastructure bill, and I am eager to work with you on legislation to deliver new and important infrastructure investment.
They should be working on infrastructure where we could get that done very quickly.
But we're ready to go with a big infrastructure bill if they're ready to approve it. We got to rebuild our country, okay? We have to rebuild our roads and our schools, our bridges. We have to rebuild our country. So I like an infrastructure bill. So we want to have an infrastructure bill, a real one, like in the vicinity of $2 trillion to completely rebuild our roads, our bridges, our highways, our tunnels, everything. And I'm totally open to listening to that. Hopefully we'll be doing an infrastructure bill so we can rebuild our roads and highways and bridges and tunnels and all of the things that we should be doing for our country.
I want to thank a group of senators, Democrats and Republicans, for doing what they told me they would do. The death of this legislation was mildly premature, as reported. They said they're willing to work in a bipartisan manner, and I want to thank them for keeping their word. That's just what they did. After years and years of infrastructure week, we're on the cusp of an infrastructure decade